Hello and welcome back to English Idea. This is Rim Alam and today we will be practicing the new section which has been added to the Duolingo English Exam. The new section is called the interactive reading part. Now before I continue with my today's video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our video and comment and let us know your thoughts and queries. And hit the bell icon to get notification whenever we upload something new. And now on the screen you can see the interactive reading section. You'll have 7 minutes to answer the questions about the reading passage. On the left side of your screen you can see around 20 seconds time that you have been given from Duolingo to read and understand what is interactive reading. Now click on next to start your questions. As you can see on the screen, it says 6 minutes and 58 seconds for the next 6 questions, which means you will be total getting 7 minutes for the entire 6 questions. The first question is right on the screen. Now, in order to answer the filling the blanks, you need to read the passage. Without reading it, you will actually not understand what they are talking about and which word will be appropriate for the passage. In the year 2030, cars will be made entirely differently. Instead of being made of steel, plastic and glass as they dash now. So now we will be checking the box which is on our right hand side to know which is the perfect word for this. As you can see, a drop down menu box has opened and there are some options. Is it act, are, came, happen or function? It will be are. And glass as they are now. They will be dash from biodegradable materials. As you can see on the screen, I have already opened the drop down menu. Will it be executed, derived, manufacturing or printed or made? And the correct answer will be made. They will be made from biodegradable materials instead of being produced in factories by human hands. The dash will be produced by robots working independently in a large warehouse. Again, on the right hand side, I have opened the drop down menu to choose the correct answer. Will it be children, food, cars, houses or materials? The correct answer will be cars. Cars will be produced by robots working independently in a large warehouse. The factory will dash all the necessary. So now let's see which is the correct answer for number 4. Is it gather, make, use, invite or supply? The factory will gather all the necessary raw materials and bring them to the warehouse. As you can see, you have about 5 minutes and 32 seconds for the next 6 questions. Now read once again to make sure you have answered all of them correctly. In the year 2030, cars will be made entirely differently. Instead of being made of steel, plastic and glass as they are now, they will be made from biodegradable materials. Instead of being produced in factories by human hands, the cars will be produced by robots working independently in a large warehouse. The factory will gather all the necessary raw materials and bring them to the warehouse. Please keep the time in your mind while giving the exam. Time is very crucial in this interactive reading part. Now click on next to go to the next question. And here you have to select the best sentence to fill in the blanks in the passage. As you can see, there is a blank in between the first and the third paragraph. And you have about 5 minutes for the next questions. So the technique to answer this question correctly is to read the last sentence of the first paragraph and to read the first sentence of the next paragraph. The last sentence of the first paragraph is, the factory will gather all the necessary raw materials and bring them to the warehouse. And the first sentence of the second paragraph is, the components of the body of the car will be created separately and given to robots that will attach them to the frame of the car in exactly the right place. So in the first paragraph, they are talking about how the factory will gather all the necessary materials and bring them to the warehouse to make the car. And these cars will be made by robots. In the second paragraph, they are saying, in the second paragraph, it is saying that the components of the body of the car will be created separately and it will be given to robot. It means the components of the body car will be created separately and then it will be given to the robots. And they will be attaching the frame of the car exactly the way it should be. And now we will be checking the options we have on the right hand side. The first option says, sometimes the part get mixed up and the cars end up breaking down. The second option is, when people get a car, they can have it fixed or taken apart and used as raw material. The third option is, then the robots will create the frame of the car from welded pieces of metal. And the final option is, in the old plant, cars could only be constructed one at a time by human workers. What do you think? Which is the correct answer? Is it the first, second, third, or fourth? I will say the third option is correct because over here in the first paragraph they told how the factory will be gathering all the raw materials and it will bring them in the warehouse. And in the second paragraph they said how the components will be built separately and then it will be given to the robots to attach the frame of the car. And the options that are given, the first and second option, are not connected to the passage. The fourth option is also not connected to the passage. And the third option says, the robots will create the frame of the car from welded pieces of metal. Only this one is related to the passage, as it says, as it is connected to the robots, as it's connected to the frame of the car. We are simply talking about the raw materials that will be gathered by the factory and how the robots will be attaching the cars later, right? So that is why third option is the best sentence to fill in the blanks in the passage. Choose the third option. Now before going to the next question, to remember to read the entire passage once again. And here you can actually see the correct answer. Then the robot will create the frame of the car from welded pieces of metal. It means the answer you have chosen was correct. Okay, so now in this question, you have to click and drag text to highlight the answer to the question below. Now remember, you cannot type in the answer. You have to drag the text in order to answer this question. The question is, what will cars be made of in the year 2030? In these type of questions, you have to be as specific as possible. They're asking what will be the cars made of in 2030. Now drag only biodegradable materials. That is the best to answer such question. Be as specific as possible. And again, in this question, you have to click and drag. So the question is, what will be done with the frame and body parts of the car after they are assembled? Now, if you have read the passage previously, you will be able to immediately go back to where you have read the word assembled. If you have not read the passage previously, then you still have time and you can still read the passage from the beginning till the end. And towards the end, they have talked about assembling the car. So the answer will be towards the end of the passage. And as you can see, towards the end, it says, once the frame and body parts are assembled, the computer inside the warehouse will bring all the parts together and create a fully functioning car. Now, alright, now drag the answer from the computer inside the warehouse will bring all the parts together and create a fully functioning car. That's the answer for your question number 4. You have about 3 minutes for the next 3 questions, which means 1 minute for each question. Now click on next to go to the next question. And in this question, you have to select the idea that is expressed in the passage. By now, I'm sure many of you all have already read the passage several times and you already have the idea, you already know what has been talked about and what's the idea of the passage, isn't it? I'll suggest everyone to read once again if you still have any doubt. Take your time to read the passage on the screen. I'll be reading out the options that is in the right hand side. The first option says, a factory that uses an assembly line is called a production plant and it produces cars, appliances or other products. The second option is, robots are used to assemble the cars, but they are expensive and time consuming to maintain because they need constant attention. The third option says, instead of being assembled in factories, the car will be assembled in a warehouse by robots that are given all of their components separately. And the last option says, at least 2 different approaches have been used to make cars safer without requiring factories to give up their manufacturing processes. So the correct answer will be the third option, because the first 2 and the last option is not related to the passage. Only the third option is related and appropriate for the passage. In the passage, they have talked about how robots will be used in the future, and they will be given all the necessary equipments to prepare a car, and where will the robots will be making the car. They have talked about this, and in the options that are given on the right hand side, only the third option actually expresses the passage. The other 3 does not. So the correct answer is option number 3. Moving on to the next question. So as you can see on the screen, I still have 2 minutes for just a question. In order to finish interactive reading within the time that has been given to you, you need to practice. A lot of practice will actually make you better. Only a lot of practice can help you manage the time for the questions. So in this question, I have to select the best title for the passage. I am sure by now all of you have read the passage several times, and due to that, I will be directly going to the answers. Whether it is the first option, modernizing car designs, or it is the second option, which is the history of the assembly line, or it is the third option, or is it the third option, advances in robotics, or the final option, which says the cars of the future. Now, before I continue with my today's video, I would like to share this with all my viewers that in Duolingo, there is in the speaking and the writing part for the Duolingo exam, there is actually no right and wrong answer. Yes, you have to be grammatically correct. You have to be in the task. You have to speak or write according to the topic that has been given to you. But there is no wrong or right answer. Duolingo just wants to know your ability to speak, understand, and write in English. They want to know if you are grammatically correct, if you have a good base of grammar, if you are able to understand English. That's all Duolingo is about, and it is for. Duolingo is an English proficiency exam. They want to test your English knowledge. So in this question, the third and fourth answer are pretty accurate. You can use them for the best title. You can say that advances in robotics. You can also choose the option, the cars of the future. Personally, I'll be choosing the fourth option because they have mainly spoke about cars and how it will be, what they will be made of, and where they will be made of. But you can also choose the third option because they have specifically mentioned that these cars in 2030 will be made by robots. So over here, robots are the main one that they have. Over here, cars in 2030. So over here over here they have mentioned how robots are actually needed to make the cars in 2030. So you can also talk about that. You can also choose the option advances in robotics. I'll be moving on. I'll be choosing the fourth, but I will be choosing in the fourth option. You can choose the third option. You all can choose. If you think the third option is the best title for the passage, you are free to do so. But I will be choosing the fourth option. Now click on next, and interactive reading section is completed. I hope my video is informative. To get videos more like this, subscribe to our channel, comment and let us know your thoughts and queries. Don't forget to like our videos, share it with your friends, and hit the bell icon to get notification whenever we upload something new. Thank you.